Hello dear all, and welcome back to another online session of MD Microdetectors. It's Giovanni Principe speaking, product manager for ultrasonic and capacitive sensors in MD Microdetectors. And here, behind the camera, there is my colleague Giovanni Di Lorenzo, product manager for proximity, accessories, and applicative sensors. And today he is going to direct, technically speaking, this online session. So if something goes wrong from the technical point of view, you know who is the responsible of the disaster. I'm joking, of course. Today, we are not having a traditional masterclass, a traditional webinar as we usually did during the last months. It is a Tech-Innova session. In fact, we want to show you some new products that we developed during this month. Here they are. They are M30 ultrasonic sensors with remote teaching. And today we are gonna talk about them in terms of technical specifications, features, in terms of some particular applications where you should use them instead of the products that we already have with the teaching button. And finally, we are going to have the practical part as usual during our online sessions, where we are going to discover how to adjust a ultrasonic sensor via cable. In fact, it is possible for this model to adjust them in remote way, simply using the cable and not the teaching button. But first of all, I want to briefly tell you a story. It's the story about the way we got the idea of these new products. So please enjoy the video.
Hey Joe!
Hi Simon.
Listen, I need to tell you something.
Yeah, tell me.
I just had a call with a customer. He's using an M30 ultrasonic sensor, our UT5 valve, that is installed in a 7-meter high tank from the top, half meter inside the tank. And as you can imagine, for him it's very difficult to teach the sensor. It's not in a simple position.
Yeah, because in order to teach the sensor, he has to enter the tank and he has the risk to falling down. So.
Yeah. We need to think something about the teach remoting as we have in our UK6.
I don't think it's a good idea. Let's think about. Okay, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this short and funny video about the way we basically got the idea. Of course, as you have seen, the video was not completed yet because we are going during the next days to realize the second part of the story. So I invite you to stay tuned on our social networks, social media, in order to understand when we are ready with the second part. But let's come back to the new products. These new M30 ultrasonic sensors with remote teaching. What we are gonna see today, in particular, we are going to discuss a little bit of about the M30 ultrasonic sensors in terms of product range, discovering how and why these new models are enriching our product range. Then we have some particular applications where you should use these models, where these models could help you in practical terms. And finally, we have the practical part where we want to show you how to adjust, how to set a M30 ultrasonic sensor via cable. Let's start with, let's say, with this topic, which is a topic related to the code, to the item, how we build the item of these new models. Let's start with the item of the current models with the teaching button. For instance, here we are considering a model of UT1B family with a mixed output, analog plus digital, with a plug-in, M12 plug-in electrical connection. And in particular, you can observe that there are two, let's say, two main parts of the code. The G digit, which stays for models with teaching button, and the final part, SY, which stays for synchronization. So the ability of these sensors of working together in parallel without create an interference each other. New models have such different codification. In fact, the digit G becomes H. H stays for models with remote teaching via cable. The final part becomes UL. It means that with these new models, it is not possible to work with the synchronization property, but that these models keep the UL certification. Basically, from a technical point of view, these new models do not change in terms of performances. In fact, you can see that we are keeping the same families, UT1B, UT2F, UT5L, with all of the performances related to them in terms of sensing distance, in terms of switching frequency, in terms of possible outputs that we can grant, and so on and so forth. Just one difference, that now we have enriched our portfolio, putting beside the products with the teaching button, also products with remote teaching, as we are, let's say, repeating here. Let's analyze some applications, some reasons why we should use these new models. The first application that comes in mind when talking about the adjustment is the situation where we have a very high tank. So imagine a tank high 8-9 meters, where you have to measure level of something inside of it, and you have the sensor on the top of the tank itself. So imagine how much difficult, how much uncomfortable, and how much unsafe it could be for an operator to go on the top of this tank and to adjust the sensor. It requires, let's say, some equilibrium practice for the operator. While if you use an ultrasonic sensor with the remote teaching, the operator could work in a safe, comfortable, and easily way. Another reason why you should use these products instead of the product with the teaching button is that in some situations, the environment surrounding the operator could be very harsh, could be very, let's say, very dangerous for the operator's health. Like in case of this application here, and we already are present in this application with our UT5L sensors, we are measuring the level of sewage in sewers. But in this case, the operator has to go down, has to, let's say, to to be in this environment which is not so safe for him. So imagine how much it could be the benefit if we introduce now these new models and we make it possible for the operator to work in a remote way, so to not go down within the sewers. Another practical reason why we should use this product is that sometimes on machines, on plants, we do not want that operators on board have the possibility of changing the settings, have the possibility of changing the adjustment settings. So that if we rely just on remote teaching, we are connecting the sensor to the electrical cabinet. And so we make it not possible for the simple operator to change the settings. He has to access the electrical cabinet. So just, let's say, authorized personnel can change the settings themselves. In this case, we have selected just a particular application, which is the process where we work metal sheets, but we can find a lot of other applications, a lot of other sectors, fields where we have the necessity of avoiding that the operator could change the settings. Okay, now just to synthesize what we have said about the possible benefits that we are achieving with these new products. First of all, as we have said, as we have seen, we have that with the remote teaching, we have the possibility of adjusting them in safe and comfortable conditions. Always imagine very high tanks. Then, with respect to dangerous environments, we have the possibility with remote teaching of working in these environments simply because we have not the necessity of exceeding these places. Then we have seen finally that sometimes we do not want that machine operators have the possibility of changing the settings, the sensor settings. So while with the teaching button, we allow the operators to change these settings, with the remote teaching, it is not so possible. The other phase of the medal, of course, is that with the teaching button, it is easier to change the sensor setting because you have not the necessity of access the electrical cabinet, while it is not so easy to do it with the remote teaching. So let's say the model that you are selecting depends on the necessity that you have on your specific application. Here, I have underlined this table just to say you that with the new models, we have a complete range within our M30 ultrasonic sensors, and you have the possibility to select the sensor which is right for you, which is right for your specific application. Now we are ready for, let's say, the most interesting part of about me, of this Tech-Innova session, the practical part where we are going to see how to adjust a M30 sensor using the cable. So we can go and see how to do that. Now you are able to see here our M30 ultrasonic sensor installed. In particular, we are using a UT1B sensor, which has a mixed output. Now we are supplying the sensor itself. And you can observe that the green LED has been activated. It means that the sensor is applied in the correct way, and also that the sensor is catching back an echo, a signal coming back from the target. This target is the nominal one, a metal flat plate. Okay, now another, let's say, another kind of LED is the yellow one. In this case, we have two yellow LEDs because we have two outputs. The yellow LED is related to the activation of the output itself. Okay, so how we can adjust this sensor? First of all, we have to observe that we are working with the cable. So basically, in this case, we have 5 wires, 2 of them related to the supply condition, so the positive and negative pole, and the other 2 are related to the 2 output, these black and the white ones, and the 5th wire, which is the wire we are interested to, the gray one, is the wire related to the teaching procedure. So how to perform the teaching procedure? First of all, we have to enter the menu. I remind you that our menu is made up of 3 different selection options. The first one related to the window mode, the second one related to 2 points or hysteresis mode, and the third one related to the single point mode. So first of all, we have to connect the gray wire to the positive pole and keep it connected for 8 seconds. So we can go. Just some seconds of patience. You can see now it has started blinking. It means that we entered the menu selection mode. And now, by just touching for 1 second each time, I'm changing the selection option. So I'm skipping through the 3 options that I mentioned you before. Let's select this one, which corresponds to the 2 points mode. Now, the second step is to set the 2 points, the 2 positions. So imagine that we want to work with the normally open logic. It means that first we have to select the farthest position, and then we have to select the nearest one. So let's put the target in the desired farthest position. Then just 1 touch, just 1 second of touch with the gray wire on the positive pole, and we have acquired the farthest position, and you are seeing now that the LEDs has started blinking. Now I can move the target towards the active head of the sensor itself, and with another touch of just 1 second, we can acquire this position. So you can see that we have acquired the 2 points. Okay, I want to remind you that all the functionalities that we were, let's say, that were normal, usual for us with the models with teaching button are also available with these new models. In particular, also the factory reset. If you want, for instance, to restore the nominal sensing distance in terms of maximum 1 and in terms of blind zone, you have just to remove the target as I've done, and to make a teach at infinite, let's say. So as I was saying, the procedure is quite similar to the one that you were following with models with teaching button. In fact, you can see here, I have put beside this product, I have put the model with teaching button. Mechanically, the only difference is the presence of this button here. And what we have done with the gray wire, we normally do with this button. Okay, I think that we already spent a lot of words about this topic, and that we can come back to the presentation. Okay, so basically we have seen that it is very easy to adjust a sensor by using the cable. Remember just that while with the current model we are using the teaching button, now we are using the gray wire. Unfortunately, we reached the end of this online session. What we have discovered today, first of all, we have talked about the entire M30 Ultrasonic Sensors product portfolio, and we have seen how these new models have enriched our portfolio. Then we have seen something about the applications, why we should select this kind of products instead of the sensors with the teaching button. And finally, during the practical part, we have seen how to teach a sensor through the cable. Of course, we have not finished talking about these new products. We have just started. So, since they are new models, we ask you to provide us precious feedback, to provide us some suggestions, some observations. And so you can write us at info@microdetectors.com, and also stay tuned on our website microdetectors.com and on our social, YouTube and LinkedIn. Before going to the greetings, I want to ask to Giovanni Di Lorenzo to come here.
Hello.
He was the technical director of this online session, so thank you very much for the technical success.
Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Okay. So now it's time for saying goodbye. So thank you again for your precious time and your precious attention, and see you soon at the next webinar. Bye-bye.